once again, I would like to introduce myself as Dr. Rituraj Bharadwaj, currently working as Associate Professor, cum Principal at Rahman Institute of Pharmaceutical Sciences and Research, Assam, India. So I don't want to give any more brief introduction as because the the organizer have already briefed about me. So this is my educational credential as well as my research. So I would like to directly move to the topic which we are going to discuss today. So the thing is, first of all, the professor as an educational leader. What is the current scenario? We all across the globe, we know that in the realm of education, the professors are the mentors or the person who are the disseminators of knowledge, right? But being in a responsible position, it is the utmost importance for a professor to act as an educational leader. So beyond their expertise in a specific discipline, if I give my example, suppose I have done my master's in pharmacy. So I should not only confine my duty just to share my knowledge, whatever I have gained, rather it's my sole responsibility to shape the minds of my students, to inspire them for a lifelong learning, which will help my students to gain more in their life, as well as it will also help my institute. So let's see what we, the professor, we are doing in our day-to-day life, as I am going to discuss firstly about the current, then we are going to go and discuss regarding the prospect. So the first thing, currently what we are doing, we are fostering a learning culture. If we see the culture, the learning culture in any classroom, this professor, what they actually do, they always act as a catalyst for vibrant learning within the classroom, right? So, or in any academic institution, through our patience, our knowledge, our pedagogical expertise, what we can do or what we do in our day-to-day life, we used to inspire the students to become an active participant in their own education. Apart from that, what we used to do, we used to generally create or stimulate an environment, right, where our students develop the mode of critical thinking. They develop the mode of collaboration, and which we want to take beyond the boundaries of the textbook. We don't want to confine our students only to the knowledge of the textbook, as we all know that in this present era of internet, we know that the world has become a village, interconnected internet village, right? So if we confine our student to study whatever it is written in the text, then I don't think so such student can compete in the present world. So we need to motivate our student to ask questions, right? To ask questions, to explore more, and even to engage themselves in the transformative learning experiences. This is what we are doing in our day-to-day life as an educational leader. The next thing, what we used to do is mentoring and guidance, right? As we have already spoken regarding the professor as an educational leader. So apart from providing knowledge from the text, from our experience, from the research, it is the sole responsibility of a professor to act as a mentor and to guide their students, right? Why it is needed? Because students during the course of his study sometimes may lose the hope to complete the course, or sometimes they may be distracted from their course materials. So the professor not only need to provide the subject knowledge, apart from that, he should give guidance. He should support his students and encourage the students for facing any academic challenges during his career, even helping the student to choose his career. And also, he should promote the personal growth in the life of the students, right? So, thus, the professor should have a meaningful relationship with their student so that the student foster a sense of belongingness, a sense of motivation, a sense of resilience. Thus, this professor, we as an education leader, we are doing or we should do, right? The next thing, it is the curriculum innovation and pedagogical excellence. So, being an educational leader, it is the responsibility of a professor to always stand in forefront for curriculum innovations. We used to always remain in the forefront and even in the pedagogical advancement. So, as a professor, we should engage ourselves, or we engage ourselves in designing the curriculum as per the need of the society or as per the need of the market, right? Which will include the technological advancement and the emerging fields. Earlier, if I take the example of pharmacy, earlier, we have generally the general sense of medicines, like which are available like tablet, capsules, pills, syrup, etc. But with the due course of time, with the advancement of technologies, new drug delivery aspects are emerging, newer form of drug delivery are coming to the market. Accordingly, if we want to make our student to learn as per the need of the society, then in this regard, we, the professor as an education leader, the responsibility is bestowed in our shoulders to make the curriculum accordingly. So the professor actually, with their expertise, they develop innovative teaching method. They incorporate technology enhanced learning, right? Sometimes softwares are there. This professor can use different softwares to teach, to simulate a general condition, right? And they create an experimental learning opportunity. Because nowadays, in India, we are not allowed to use the animals for drug testing anymore in any bachelor courses. That is Bachelor of Pharmacy. Although in Master of Pharmacy and in PhD, it is allowed, but up to some level. So if I want my student to learn regarding the efficacy of any drug in an animal or in a human, in such cases, what we used to do, we used to procure the software which actually mimic, which simulate the same condition. So these are the technology advancement. So this technology advancement can be used by a professor to make their student learn. Thus, the commitment to the pedagogical excellence, it drives the continuous improvement in teaching practices and ensuring that the education remains relevant and impactful in the life of students. The next thing, it is research and knowledge creations. So, professor being an educational leader, they should not only act as a consumer of knowledge or education, rather they should be the creator. They should be the creator of knowledge and education. How? Their research and scholarly contribution, it actually enriched the educational landscape by advancing the knowledge in the respective field. So, if a professor, he just confine himself to the textbook knowledge and he just disseminate this knowledge to the students, then with the rapid pace of time, the student will simultaneously lose his hope on the knowledge, whatever he has gained from that particular professor, or he will lose the interest in that particular theory class or session, knowledge session. Why? Because as we know, by virtue of the internet, nowadays everyone is accessible to knowledge, right? So whatever we gain from the internet, similarly a student can also gain. So until and unless we make ourselves engaged with the research, no new thing can be shared with the students, because the reason is that because by doing research with the pace of time, we come to know, we come to develop, we used to explore many new things which may not be available in the internet. And this knowledge sharing with the students make them curious to know more, make them curious to earn more, to learn more, right? So through the research, these professors, they brings the latest discoveries, perspective, and also evidence-based practices into the classroom. Thus, they foster an environment where the intellect, curiosity, and academic rigor, it occurs among the students. Thus, the professor, they inspire the students to become a lifelong learner, which is the motive of any professor being an educational leader. The next thing is collaboration and community engagement. So see, as I have already told you regarding the professor as acting as the educational leader, so we should, the professor, we should extend our impact beyond the boundaries of the classroom. We should not keep ourselves engaged within the classroom or within the four walls of the classroom, because the world these days, they have become an internet village, right? So we should try to make collaboration. We should try to make collaboration that may be either interstate, intra-country, or international, right? And we should try to engage with the communities, our society, or society from other country. Because if we do so, this will encourage our student to engage in meaningful service. And thus, our student or a students can bridge or make a bridge between whatever he has learned in the theory with that of the practical aspect, right? Thus, the professor, they actively participate in the interdisciplinary collaboration, forging the partnership with industry. For us, as we are from a pharmacy background, for us, it means a lot to get collaborated with any industry. We used to term it as a industry academia collaboration. Because if I give the example of pharmacy, because many industries are there where the scope of research and development is quite not feasible, as we have high-end laboratories where the research can be done. If we develop something in our lab, that can be shared with any industry for scaling up. And finally, this product can reach the market, the society, for an impactful result. Thus, participating or collaborating with industry, with community, with organization, and other institution is the prime motto. It should be the prime motto of any professor who is acting as an educational leader. Thus, by facilitating the connection between academia and broader community, right? We, the professor, we contribute to the development of sociologically responsible citizen, and which is the need of the hour. And to address the student or to make our student to address the real world challenges. The next one, it is the institutional leadership and governance. So as a leader, a professor, they used to play a crucial role in the institutional leadership. How? Actually, see, if I show you in this diagram, you see the professor, they are making the connections among their fellow mates. This may be a professor, this may be associate professor, these are the assistant professor, they may be the lecturers. As I'm showing you just the bridge, so the professor, they need to participate in faculty communities. They need to develop themselves to make participation in the curriculum development board so that they can develop the curriculum as per the need of the society or as per the job market, right? And other decision bodies within the institution, that may be either the board of directors, etc. So the expertise of the professor and their understanding of the educational policy, actually they contribute to shaping the institutional policies. These institutional policies, actually they helps to shape the institution education planning, right? Thus, if a professor, they get engaged with such bodies, they can contribute in preparing institutional policies. They can help in forming strategic planning for the future and resources allocations. Thus, the professor, by their expertise, they bring a unique perspective to discussion on academic standards. They help the student to develop support services, or they themselves, they act as a support services to the students. And they overall, they finally direct the institutions. Thus, the leadership in the educational institute governance ensure that the institution remain focused on its mission and vision. I repeat once again, the leadership quality of the professor in any education governance, it ensures the institution, it will always remain focused in its mission and vision to excel in all fields. The next is the influence on educational policies and reforms. So the professor as an educational leader, what he do? The professor have the potential to shape the educational policies. I would like to introduce that in India, here in 2020, we have developed a new education policy, and now it is being implemented slowly and slowly. And I would like to add here that during the formation of this policy, during the reformation of this new education policy, NEP 2020, many professors have devoted their time, their education, their expertise. Thus, the professor, they have the potential to shape the educational policies, and they contribute to the educational reforms at a broader level, right? The expertise or the research finding of a professor, they provide valuable knowledge into the effective educational practices, instructional methods, and assessment of strategies. Thus, the professors, they engage in discussion with the policymakers of the institute, of the state, of the nation, the educational organization. They always remain in discussion, engage in discussion with the educational organization or the stakeholder to inform the policy decisions, right? That positively impact the quality of the education that is imparted to the students, right? They contribute to the development of evidence-based policies that provide or promote equitable access to the education for all the students, student success and educational innovations. Through their involvement in the policy dialogue, the professor, they advocate, what they advocate? For reforms that addresses the systemic issues and enhance the overall quality of the education in a nation. Now, let's move towards the future. So, with the professor as a leader, many responsibilities are bestowed in our shoulders to shape our future. So, what we can do in the future, or what a professor as an educational leader will do in the future, let's discuss them. First of all, emphasis, sorry, emphasis on technology. So we all know that during the time of COVID, the pandemic era, if I go back to 2020, 21, 22, right? During that time, no one has ever, from our generation, no one have ever dreamed to be in such conditions that where we need to give knowledge, we need to impart knowledge to our students of the classroom. Because schools, institutes, college, institution, universities, everything are closed, right? So during that time, what we have adopted? We have adopted the online mode of teaching, where right now I am also imparting something, a small amount of knowledge, whatever I have gained. So these online activities, online education. So emphasis on technologies. At that time, we have put emphasis. So now you see the professor as an education leader, what will he need to do in the future? He will need to proficient in utilizing the technologies for the teaching and learning. So what are the technologies? He should incorporate technologies like digital tools, softwares, right? Programs, right? Online platforms. What we are doing right now, it's the Zoom. We have Google Meet. We have other Microsoft Team, right? These are the different platforms. These are the online platforms he need to use, and emerging technologies in their instructional teaching methods, right? So this could include, what he can include? He can include virtual reality, what we are doing right now, augmented reality, and the foremost, most important thing, it is the use of artificial intelligence, right? Machine learning, and their innovative tools that enhance the learning experience among the students. Next is blended learning models. So the professor, being an educational leader, he should not confine himself to the traditional face-to-face learning in the classroom, because education knowledge has no limit. If we don't find that the class allotted to him is not available or is not enough to disseminate, to impart the knowledge, he can take the class in online mode also, right? Thus, he should, or a professor should, combine the face-to-face instruction, classroom knowledge, along with online learning mode also. So the professor will need to be skilled. Our future professors, they need to be skilled enough in designing and facilitating what? The blended learning experience of traditional face-to-face classroom learning as well as online learning, by integrating both the physical and virtual component to create an interactive educational environments with the students. The next thing, it is personalized adaptive learning. See, being a professor, being an educational leader, whenever we enter any class, right, or we do a seminar, we used to assess, we used to evaluate. We know that if suppose in my class there are 16 numbers of students, I know that all my 16 numbers of students are not equal intellectually. Some are quite slow learners, some are fast learners. So the intellectual capacity of a student is not equal in all aspects. Thus, when a professor he takes the classes in the classroom, he should assess all these things. So this is known as the personalized. You see, with the advancement of technologies like online, personalized, and adaptive learning approaches have become more prevalent these days. We have a crucial role to play. What we need to do? We have a crucial role to play in leveraging the data and analytics to tailor the instruction to individual students' need. Does a professor need to analyze the students' performance data to provide targeted feedback and to adjust the instructional strategies accordingly to the need of the hour. Next is lifelong learning and professional development. So, being a professor, I will always advocate all the professors whom I know to become a lifelong learner, because knowledge has no limit. Every day we used to learn something from theories, from our day-to-day life, from the practical aspect. So the future of education, it will likely to place a greater emphasis on lifelong learning in the due course of time. After 15 years, if we all meet together, then in this 15 years, whatever we have gained, we can share in a broader prospect, right? So it's a lifelong learning and a continuous professional development. So a professor always need to remain updated with the latest research. If somebody, being a professor from a pharmacy background, if somebody asks me, do you know what is nanoparticle? If I reply, no, I don't know. If somebody asks me, do you know what is liposome? If I say, no, I have never heard. I have just heard tablet, pills, and capsule. The student will definitely throw me out from their classes, right? Okay, jokes apart. So the professor, they need to remain updated with the latest research, pedagogical techniques, and the techniques they need to learn to update their teaching abilities, right? As a professor, we may engage ourselves. You all may engage yourselves in ongoing training. Whatever we are doing right now, it's an ongoing training, right? To attend the conferences at national, international levels, to participate in online communities talk, and to collaborate with the colleagues from international boundaries to foster their growth as an educational leader. Next, mentorship and guidance. So being a leader, the professor, it's the utmost duty of the professor. In the present also we are doing, in the future also we need to do it, because our duty not only remain confined to provide the knowledge to the students. We should also serve as a mentors, and we need to guide our students, offer them academic and career guidance. The professor, they play a crucial role actually in the student's life. They help the students to develop the critical thinking skills, which is utmost importance in today's world. I repeat, the professors, they help the students to develop the critical thinking skills, right? They inculcate the problem solving abilities, and as well as they help the professional competency. They develop the professional competency within the students. Thus, a professor should act as a mentor as well as a guide. He should also support their students in the future for their research projects, for their internship, for their experimental learning opportunities. Next, research and innovations. Thus, as we have already spoken about, the professor, being an educational leader, he should be always remain in forefront of research and innovation within their respective field. It is not like that I will learn whatever it is written in the textbook or whatever it is available in the internet. From my side, I'll stop doing research. No, it should not be like that. I need to explore knowledge every day. I need to explore different diverse area every day to gain more, to earn more knowledge, right? So they need to continue to contribute. The professor need to continue to contribute to the advancement of knowledge. How they are going to contribute? By publishing the paper, the research paper, right? By collaborating with the professor from the and the colleagues from the worldwide. Thus, their expertise, the expertise of the professor and the research endeavors will shape the curriculum, for the students. It will inform the teaching practices. It will inspire the students to pursue the scholarly pursuits. The next thing, it is the global collaboration. That is internet village, right? As I have already spoken, I think many a times. So with the virtue of internet, today the world has become a village, interconnected internet village, right? So it is very much connected in today's world. So in the future, a professor will need to engage more collaboration, to do more collaboration and cross-cultural exchanges with the professor from a different geographical boundaries. If I am from India, I need to collaborate with someone who is working in California, with someone who is working in Netherlands, with someone who is working in Ireland, with someone who is working in Saudi Arabia, many countries. Because during the course of our collaboration, we will not only exchange our knowledge, we will exchange our cultural heritage also, right? Thus, they should collaborate with their colleagues from different countries. They should do joint project. We should do joint projects. As the professor should do joint project, and they should facilitate the global learning experiences to the students also by using student exchange programs, teachers or professors exchange program. If my students, they able to learn from a professor who is from US, definitely the level of knowledge, the level of expertise, the cultural heritage, everything will be different. And hopefully he will learn whatever students from the US he is learning. So this global collaboration, what it will do, it will foster a broader understanding of the diverse perspective. It will prepare the student to thrive in a globalized society, to thrive in a globalized job market. Next is interdisciplinary approaches. So nowadays, the boundaries, they are getting blurred. Earlier, we have confined boundaries between arts, science, commerce, physics, architectures, engineering, medical, law, right? But nowadays, with the pace of advancement in the technology, with the advancement of the knowledge, these boundaries, they are getting blurred. Now, the professor, they used to take, or they need to take in the future also, some interdisciplinary approaches in their teaching and research. They may collaborate with a colleague from a different field. Suppose I'm a professor from the pharmacy background, I may collaborate with a professor from biology background, with a professor from physics background, with a professor from mathematics background, or any arts streams to develop, or humanities stream to develop multidisciplinary courses. So these things are already there in our new education policy 2020. It has been given by the Indian government. Nowadays, in our policy, a student can adopt pharmacy. Along with that, he can also learn economics, or he can learn fine arts. So this will help to develop multidisciplinary courses in the future. And these projects, multidisciplinary projects, it will address the real world problem. If we blend everything, if we blend the disciplines, we can make students to face the real world problem, to find the real world solutions. Thus, this interdisciplinary focus will encourage the students to think critically, right? To make connection between the disciplines. A pharmacy person now will be able to make connection with a person studying humanities or a person studying economics or a person studying mathematics, right? And definitely this sort of collaboration will help both of them. It will be a symbiotic relationship, right? And this will help them to tackle the challenges in a holistic perspective. The next thing, it is the ethical and responsible education. So we all are in an era of rapid technology development, rapid technology advancement, and in ethical dilemmas. Thus, being a professor, it is our sole and prime duty in fostering ethical awareness and responsible decision making among the students. We should make our student to learn to take decision, what is wrong, what is right, what will benefit him, what will benefit the society, and how he will imply his decision, right? This is the sole duty, or it will be a sole duty for a professor. They will help the students to incorporate discussion on ethics, social responsibility. Being a student, the student have some social responsibility, sustainability, and inclusivity into the curriculum, right? This, the professor will encourage the student to consider the broader societal impact of their work. If I teach my students to make a drug of low cost for cancer, if he works accordingly, if one day in the future, if he makes such drug, it will be a boon to the society. It will be a boon to the mankind. So being an educational leader, I need to inspire my students in making decision for the benefit of society, and making decision in an ethical way, right? To make my student a responsible global citizen. Next is flexible learning pathway. See, the future of witness means education. Our future, the future of education, it may witness an increased emphasis on flexible learning. What? To cater a diverse number of students. As I have already told you, in the policy, new education policy, whichever has introduced in India, 2020, a student can leave the course. Means suppose I have taken admission in a graduation course. If I leave the course after 1 year, if the graduation course is of 4 years, if I leave the course after 1 year, I will get a certificate that I have done 1 year certificate course. If I leave the course after 2 years, I will get a diploma of that particular course. If I leave it after 3 years, I will get the degree. And if I leave it after 4 years, then devote 1 year. So if a student, if he leave the course after 1 year and he has earned a certificate, if he come back after 3 years, then he may join again. Right? So with this, we will have students of diverse nature, different age. Thus, the professor need to design adaptable curriculum to provide options for learning styles that support non-traditional learners. The professors should involve in offering micro-credential, competency-based assessment, and to accommodate the needs of the working professional. If a working professional become a student, how he will represent as a student and what the professor will make him learn, as because he is a working professional. To the adult learners, those who have given gap, those who have gap in their careers, if they want to learn again in the college and schools, in the institution, how the professor will adopt changes in him to cater knowledge to these students, right? Next is community engagement and partnership. So the professor need to come out from his classroom, from the traditional classroom, and he should engage himself with the local communities, with the business and organization to create partnership, right? The professor can collaborate on service learning projects, internships, community-based research initiatives to earn something, to do something for the prospect of the community, for the development of a healthy nation. By integrating the world experiences, real world experiences, the professor can make or can develop curriculum. The professor will help their student to develop practical skills. When the professor interact with the community, he will gain practical knowledge. If he allows his student to interact with the community, they will also gain practical knowledge. And this will foster civic engagement within the students to make them responsible society, to make them societally responsible, to address the community needs. What's the community want from a professor? What's the community is expecting from its future generation who are right now working or who are right now pursuing the education and acting as the student? What the community wants. The next thing is the cultivating future skills. So with the evolving job market, the professor in the future will need to focus on cultivating future ready skills among the students. He need to make their students equipped to it, knowledges as per the needs of the job market. If the market is wanting, means if the market wants a students or a person with knowledge and with high skill of using softwares and all, the professor need to mold his student accordingly, right? The professor will emphasize on critical thinking in the future, on the creativity, on collaboration, communication, and adaptability within the students, right? He will design the learning experiences that promote the problem solving, that promote problem solving attitude in the students, culturing the minds for innovation of culturing the minds of the students for innovation, for entrepreneurship, and preparation or preparing the students to thrive in rapidly changing workforce as per the global market. Inclusive education. As the professor always remain in the forefront of promoting inclusivity and diversity within the educational institute, thus they need to create an inclusive environment, right, with the diverse backgrounds. I, as a professor, may get students who may be physically not able to attend the class. I need to cater knowledge to such students. I need to cater knowledge to the slow learners. Being a professor, I need to cater knowledge to all the students of whatever background they are. It's the sole prime duty of a professor as an education leader, and this thing a professor need to do in the future. These professors, they will incorporate diverse voices, perspective into the curriculum. They will address the implicit biases. They will ensure equitable access to education, equal education for all. Equal education for all, I repeat, equal educational opportunity, equal education for all the students, irrespective of their any background. Next, advocacy for educational reform. As we know that being an educational leader, we always advocate for educational reform. We always devote ourselves for policy making, educational policy making, to contribute the policy discussion. Thus, in the future also, the professor will engage in conversation about the educational equity, as I have already discussed, regarding the funding, from where it will come, external funded agency or from the government, and access to quality education. They always need to advocate all these things. So they will use their expertise. The professor will use their expertise to influence the educational policy, and they will always contribute to the development of such an education system which will meet the demand from a diverse learner from different field or different aspect or different nation.